You're in Star Wars.
Yeah, it's hard to know that when you're inside of the huge deal. And then you're like always taught too to like, don't think too much of yourself, man. This is just the job. Just move on. And like one of the actors or the director goes, well, what do you think happens here after this? And he goes, yeah, well, I don't know. He goes, I think you guys are going to run through it and you'll film it and you'll feel it out and you'll find out and something will emerge. And that's art.
Pet Project family, we have an awesome podcast for you guys today. We had Tait Fletcher, who is the founder and co-owner of Caveman Coffee, along with being an actor. He recently had a role of Paz Vizsla in Disney's The Mandalorian. And we talked all things from Grogu, his character, Paz Vizsla, more Grogu, how he developed self-belief, and a lot of his work in the stunt industry. You guys are going to enjoy this one. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, we would appreciate it if you left us a rating or a review, because that helps the podcast grow. And if you're watching this on a YouTube, subscribe. 44% of you guys aren't subscribed, so subscribe to the channel. And I hope you guys enjoy this amazing episode with Tait Fletcher.
Well, I got a really serious question for you.
All right.
Have you ever had to change Baby Yoda's diapers?
Oh, no.
Well, no.
His name's Grogu, Mark.
Grogu.
There we go. Thank you.
And I think that
How old is-
parents should do that.
Oh. How old is Grogu?
I think it's inconsequential.
You said parents. We don't. Do you know the parents?
Yeah,
Because
have you seen them?
haven't seen the parents on the show yet.
Well, everybody has parents.
Well,
Grogu has parents?
yeah, but who are they? We don't know. Maybe Yoda?
He has two parents? He has more than one parent?
I'm not sure how. I'm not even. What's the phylum that he's from? Do we know? Do we know anything about his species?
That's what we're trying to ask you.
Well, I don't know if they just have. I don't know if they need to have one.
You've been to some of these planets.
I know.
How is he on set?
I don't pay attention to a lot, and it's hard to see everything in the helmet, and they're so little. It's easy to be, they're inconsequential in that way.
How much does he weigh? Do you know how much he weighs? When you pick him up, like, what does he feel like? Is it a 3 pound?
About 3 pounds, 3.5 pounds.
3.5 pounds?
Yeah.
How green is he?
Like you could do like jab training with him, just to hold him as a weight.
He knows how to throw a punch.
He doesn't even need to.
Oh, wow.
He can have somebody else throw a punch for him.
He does use the Force, Mark.
Yeah.
Has he ever made you levitate?
No, but I dream about it sometimes.
Have you seen him changing, getting ready for a shot or something?
Yeah, I've seen him
Oh,
with
wow.
no pants on. I've seen him with the robe pulled up.
Well, okay,
Seen him
everyone.
in
Is that
discreet
okay
ways.
if he's a baby?
He's 52 years old.
How is he a 52-year-old baby?
Well, they age differently, right?
Yeah,
Does he eat baby food?
he's a slow grower.
It's like a dog? Like Grogu years?
Well, he likes to he only likes to eat primal. Really, is his preference.
He follows the Liver King.
I mean, he's not going to go and have like goldfish crackers. He's like, I'm going to have a whole koi. Yeah, yeah.
You did see him levitating frogs before, so he likes to eat those things whole.
Oh, okay.
So you've seen him at craft service.
Yeah, and he gets distracted easily.
Wow.
And then he sees a water cooler and he's thinking maybe there's going to be something in there. Like
Does he have ADHD or is it just because he's a baby?
It's go, go, go. And also you're hungry a lot. I mean,
Being
how
that-
hungry is he being that small and he has to grow and he's got a brain like that and he has to navigate the Force.
He's not going to grow that much, though, right?
No, internally.
Oh,
To grow the chutzpah for to have better.
like the manifestation
so
of
the
who
Force,
he's going to
the
become.
Force doesn't hurt him. The Force will wear him out right now. So we got to build that resilience.
He has the Force within him now.
Right, but he doesn't have he can't hold the space for it yet without getting very tired.
Is he as mean on set as I've heard?
It's not mean. He just doesn't look at you much. It's just like it.
Okay.
You're not considered, but he's got other things on his mind.
That's true.
Is he kind of like a know-it-all?
It's just hard, You're there, and it's like Katie Sackhoff's there, and Carl Weather. There's like real human people around, and nobody gives a shit because Grogu is looking at himself in a pond. And then there's just you're wondering what's going on over. Oh, it's that.
Oh, everyone's crowded around him all
I'll
the
just
time.
wait.
Yeah, I think
Not
he was-
that anybody wants attention in Hollywood, but people have feelings about
Does
it.
he lift?
Mentally. He does a lot of mental weights. Yeah, mental calisthenics, mental judo.
How is
He's
he with-
very good at that.
Like jujitsu and stuff? You ever?
Never comes up for him.
Okay.
Yeah, he tries to have no contact,
Oh.
which is
That's
probably
smart.
safest.
If you're
Well, yeah, and
30
he got
pounds-
inside that robot. That was pretty smart.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
But-
mean, I promise you, the whole show is not going to be about him. We're not going to do that to him, right?
Is he here?
I'm wait.
Wait,
Oh,
Did
no.
you bring Grogu with
Did you bring him with you?
He's gonna wait in the car.
no way.
Okay.
He's in the car.
I'm sorry, you guys.
Can I get his email? See if he wants
We'll,
to.
we'll talk later.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe we can do a FaceTime. Something like that.
Hey, I'm cool with that.
Okay.
I'm curious. Is he fast?
Fast.
Because he like
verbally.
No, like like running. Like I've seen him jump around pretty good, but is he like pretty quick?
I mean, I would say in a straight line better than the jumps. You know,
Oh, wow.
I was
Okay, that's
worried
moving
about
pretty
some of the jumps when he was
Yeah.
evading in the hallway and he's jumping up on the girders.
He's
remember
doing his
that.
own stunts.
You know, for sure.
He's
yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
You can verify
does,
that.
He does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I was worried about that.
It's impressive.
Yeah. He almost got smashed by those Praetorian guards. Remember
Yeah,
that?
that was close
Those
call.
yeah,
Dude,
very
how
close
good
call.
is he? Those, I mean, that gave me and with Mando, I was glad he needed help.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
Yeah,
Yeah. And,
Well,
and little Grogu did handle him well.
he did. He really did.
Have you felt the force from him? Like you're just sitting down, you're eating in between scenes and stuff.
I try to stay away. I don't want him to get in my head like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
because you've seen him manipulate other people that way.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the whole show is about him. He's gonna probably have
Have a
Mando
spin
killed
off.
off and have his own show. This is gonna
Holy
be right.
shit.
I mean, imagine. Just think about it.
Have you spoken to
You've
his?
seen child stars before.
Yeah.
You've seen how this
They're
goes.
all the same. They're all the same.
Right?
They're all the same.
When is his Charlie Sheen moment? I don't know.
10, 15 years from. I mean, things look good now.
Could be just a boatload of rock and Grogu. We don't know.
And the only thing he's been saying is, that's all he's been doing.
He
That
knows.
and
He knows how to talk.
I can't wait till he finds language.
that's gonna be amazing.
It's gonna be great.
Have you spoken to his agent?
I haven't.
Okay, I'm curious who represents him.
Yeah, I think all I know is Mando. I think that's his full representation.
Wow.
Shit.
Yeah.
So what's been going on with you, sir? How has Mandalorian been for you?
It's been crazy. It's hard to know what's real. You know, it's like
You're in Star Wars.
yeah, that's the thing, right? It's like this is
crazy, man.
You know, and here's the thing about
All
it.
I can say is congratulations,
Thank
bro.
you.
Yeah, man.
Thank you. It's like a privilege to do it and to wear the weight of it. Like I felt super good about the result. I was real proud of it because I you know, this when I went to a first convention and you see the nature of Star Wars fans in that universe and how attention to detail oriented, everything has to be right. Like you want to do that. You want to do it honor. You want to stand up straight in that. And I was really happy about the result of it. I thought it was dope to do. And then I get in this thing, people are like, this is this huge deal. This is, and it's hard to know that when you're inside of the thing, inside of the huge deal. And then you're like, always taught too to like, don't think too much of yourself, man. This is just the job. Just move on. And like, let's keep it together and all that. But it's like, one of my friends he's like, dude, take a minute. This is fucking cool. You know, take a minute. And just to let it, I don't know. To me, it's like everybody's though. It's like that's such a loved character, and then all the love that came afterwards. I was like, this is such a group effort, and I got to say that too about it. It's a group effort for me. You know, without Tom O'Connell and Jeremy Fitzgerald to help me with that, it's like they help carry the weight of that suit and present Paz, and I was really happy with what they did. The people that made the suit at Legacy, tremendous creatives, and then also to be able to you know, work and articulate around your body and to make something that's so formidable, that movement, ease and comfort was
How
something
cool was
else.
it that
was
you're
really
the
dope.
like hugest guy on the show?
It's cool, man. It was dope. I mean, I didn't know what it was going to be. You know, when I looked at the bags that my Under Armour is in, you know, because your base layer is that, and it just says heavy bounty hunter. That's all they knew about the character. Then we like in season, we didn't know anything, not the people that are making it, nothing. And so it's this unfolding of it was really cool. Like at the final at season 1 or season 3 when I came in and I talked to Jon the first day I saw him, and he goes and he lays it out. He lays out the spoiler for me. He goes, "Here's how it's going to run down." And I was like, whew. And so it was like trying to hold that and then put it behind me to kind of go through, because that was months before we filmed that. I mean, 6 months or something.
Yeah.
And to walk that and see where it was going, it just built excitement. And then when we finally filmed the final scene, and then go, okay, it's going to come out, you know, next year. You're like, I don't know if I can. All right. And then it's just that. And then next thing you know, it's 3 weeks till, and they're like, holy shit. And then when it came out, that opening scene, it captivated me as a fan, because you film it and it's all one thing when you're there on the day and you're like, the first day I walk out onto that beach and you see all these Mandos and little Mandos, the adorable little Mandos on their little helmets, and you're just like, oh my God, this is amazing. You know what I mean? The first teaser I get, I go and see where all the props are, and there's like 50 helmets lined up, and I'm like, this is dope, you know, because it's like the world is getting fleshed out like you want it to as a fan. You know, you're like, I want to see all these representations of what this is.
That must have felt weird because you must have been like this is so exciting. You're like, but I'm in this. This is like, it kind of make you half nervous too.
You don't have a reflection of yourself though, because you're not in a mirror. You're not looking, it's like, and so they're in that too. If people are like, how do you perform inside the suit? You know, and it's like, you need help with that too.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how a little head tilt reads.
Yeah.
And so unless I have different people that are going, oh no, a little less this, or a little more chin up, you know, you don't really know. And especially with light reading the helmet and the reflections and all that. Yeah.
You said that Jon Favreau sounded like he laid out the whole thing. Is that normal? Like, have you worked with him before? Is that normal for him, or is that standard with some other directors you worked with before?
Yeah, the only time I got the pleasure of working with Jon was on Avengers, and I just had a few days on there. But like, what I felt from that, from being on other movie sets, was that everybody was cool. Like, not that everybody's not cool, but like, the kindness and sometimes there's guys that are yelling. There's people that are there's
get shit done,
all the stuff, right?
Yeah.
Or people that are like wanting to show how much they care, so they throw a fit instead of actually just taking care. You know, there's all of it, right? But there's not on his sets. Like, it's just cool, or else it's like, hey, thanks a lot for your work today. We'll see you later. Call you if you need you. And it's like that, and I really appreciate that standard. And I felt that as soon as I walked onto Mando. Jon's the same way. And what's different about him too is that he'd come, I never had a guy that was like, he's an EP and he's the director, he's a creator, and he's there every morning to talk the cast through, hey, here's what I was thinking here, and da-da-da-da, and what do you think about that Filoni? Does that jive with it, you know? And we're having, you know, there's 6 or 8 of us that are in a conversation about this every morning. I mean, it was magic, dude. I've never had that before, where you have that kind of interaction, you have that kind of communication. And that kind of communication is usually where shows break down. And people are like, I can't believe what a shit show this is. It's usually because people don't communicate very well, and nobody knows each other's desires or timetables and this and that. And so, but not there. It was like the efficiency was something else at the highest level. Yeah, it was a real masterclass for me.
Yeah, having a leader like that's got to be, make everything that much more exciting.
Totally. And then, you know, he can get ramped up and excited. And Filoni's just, he's just mellow. Like, just like, oh, well, I think it's, you know, it just, and you know, and then the allowance with that too. There was a time when we were talking and somebody, one of the actors or the director goes, well, what do you think happens here after this? And he goes, yeah, well, I don't know. He goes, I think you guys are going to run through it, and you'll film it, and you'll feel it out, and you'll find out, and something will emerge. And that's art. You know, and so here's a guy that created it, that's seen it in his mind, and that's going, I want you to present it this way. And then he's going, no, the magic will be when you guys figure it out in the moment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's cool, man. You know, because a lot of times you can think, I have to be fastidious about art. I have to make sure all the angles are correct.
Fastidious.
You know what I mean?
What does that mean?
I have to take care of all the details with like a OCD kind of thing to where I don't move.
Yeah.
You know, you can get frozen inside of that, and then it can look clunky. But he goes, to do all the work, lay it all down with that kind of precision, and then take your hands off of it and just let it come, whatever's going to come. And I thought that was a real learning point, you know, because you want to grip things. It's hard to let things be is hard.
Yeah.
And to let something just come is hard. You know, I mean, it's like coming onto a podcast and going, okay, I want to direct it and I want to talk like this. You can't have a podcast like that.
Nope.
You know what I mean? That's just, it's not a thing. And so it's that kind of allowance, which I think is so special to notice. Cause I think you can easily think, am I getting it wrong? Or you know, you could get hypercritical, and it's like, there's no flow in that. And I like that on a big corporate level, Jon Favreau creates a place where you can have flow in your work, which is dope.
You know, I love The Mandalorian, and I really like Star Wars, but I'm not as deep into it as a lot of fans, but I do watch YouTube videos, and it is crazy. The way you're talking about like Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, like the fans love those dudes.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to see like you've had personal experience with them, and you can see why people trust these guys with Star Wars so much.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, and the kindness that's there, it's like it's really cool.
Yeah. Well, did you have to like for the part of Paz Vizsla? Did you just get that part because you were already in it from the beginning, or was there competition for that specific part?
So I walked in into the casting agent, which is this little house on Larchmont, and it's the usual suspects, right? So it's like there's lanes in the stunt world and in the performing world of guys. Okay, he can do that. Like Scott Adkins he's a great actor and he can do all the business, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever. Like you can look at Michael J. or something. Like
Michael J. White,
you can look at there's a lot of guys that you could point to like that, right? And so there's those guys that are in that realm that can do the business and that can act. A lot of guys that are great stunt performers that can do all the business that are like, I'm not saying it like and so you get in these different lanes and like there's guys that are, okay, here's guys that are over 200 pounds or whatever that are da-da-da-da-da. So there's a half dozen there. So you know kind of who it is, right? Yeah. It's like one of us is, but we don't know why we're there. And so then we just go read, I think we all read for the Alpha Trawler. And then, which was the opening scene in season 1. And then all I know is that after that, 2 days later, I get a call and they say, Favreau saw your audition. And I was geeked out. I was like, Favreau saw my audition. I was like, God damn. And then he goes, he wants you to play this other part. I said, okay. And he says, okay, go out to Legacy, get the email, go out to Legacy Effects and all that. And then I see his Lucasfilms on the bottom of the email. I'm like, what am I doing right now? Like, what is this, right?
Yeah.
And I go out there and they've got the Shape of Water guy that is the big stat. They've done all these things. Modern warfare guys are coming out of the ceiling, and there's Darth Vader and stormtroopers that are coming, that are 9 feet tall, functional on a set, you know, and that iconic. And so I'm just like, wow, somebody's carving a dinosaur leg and out of wax, right? You're looking at all these art. It's a room full. It's like a warehouse of artists, and all of here's all of our great things that we, you know. And so then I go into a room. They go, okay, just put on the Under Armour and lock your bag and shit in there and come out here. So then I'm in a room. If there was a wall here, it's about this big, and there's like 12 people in there, and they're measuring every bit, everywhere. And I go, what are we doing, you know? And they go, well, another guy was going to do this, and then he got busy, and John had pulled you in, and the big thing is if your head fits this helmet, because we already made the helmet. Oh. And I go, okay, cool. And so, you know, 15 minutes later, a helmet comes in, and it's a flat black Boba Fett looking helmet. And I go, oh, my Boba Fett right now. I go, what is going on? Because all I hear is it's a bounty hunter show.
Just went up.
It's like, good Lord. And I was like, that's the coolest thing I ever saw. You know, it was dope. I wish there were flat black Mandos. Like, it's a dope look. So anyway, we go through it and we build that for the next couple months. Yeah. And I go back periodically as they progress. And then the opening day, you know, when I wear it and go out on set, before we do that, it's this exposure party. Like, we're going to have to go and present you to all the Disney execs and the people at the toy place and da-da-da. You're going to go take pictures for all the poses for the toys that he's going to do. And I was like, this is insane. And so it's just like a different lane than I'd ever been in film, you know, for all the, never played a character where they're like, yeah, we're going to make an action figure of him.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
It's intense.
Yeah.
Did you have a traditional like acting background or
no? You
got into stunt stuff first?
Yeah, I did. When I was a kid, I did some performance stuff, but like 11 years old probably. And I was really into Charlie Chaplin back then. I was like a real hero. Him and Buster, like these guys that were action and storytelling at the same time were just phenomenal to me. And there were silent films and all that. And I would go to the museum because my mom was an artist and she would set up these community events. And so I would sit in the basement of the museum and I would watch these Charlie Chaplin and Buster films and just be tripped out. And so then years later, and then I just, you know, the way life went, it seemed unrealistic, right? That I'm ever going to be in a movie. Like, I'm a kid from Michigan and it's like, life's what it is. I don't see anybody writing books or being in movies around here. It's not what happens. And so I never really thought of it as a route, right? I didn't have much belief, you know, I didn't have any confidence in that way. I thought, I want to try to make it work in this life. And I don't know that that's possible because I see a lot of people not, right? And I had this empathy in that way where I just thought, this is a cold motherfucker, this life in some ways. And I don't, you know, I don't know. And it seems like everybody's got their back against the wall and seems sketchy, right? And so life goes on, and I'm working at a nightclub, and in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I just started competing like as an amateur, and I'd travel all over the country to go compete. Wherever I could go compete, I would go.
And fighting?
Like jiu-jitsu, submission wrestling.
Oh shit!
And prior to that, like I was working out. I didn't travel much for it. I'd go to Hermosa Beach sometimes, but I fought with a group called the Dog Brothers, which is an international stick fighting group. And
I was just gonna say, like, is this some like back alley type stuff, like a limousine picks you up type deal?
So it's an invite only deal. It's,
I see.
Kumite. Yeah.
It's two guys, Arlen Sanford and then top dog, they call him Eric Knaus, and Mark Denny is a third, and they Mark was a lawyer and wrote it all up, and
fighting with sticks, imagine that.
And they fought at a international stick fighting thing in LA. Arlen came from Santa Fe and fought Eric, and they took first and second, and he goes, I'm not satisfied that when you came across that I would still be able to come in. Those are just points because we're so armored that it's hard to read, right? And so Eric says, how would you like to come over to my house in Long Beach for the weekend? You're not leaving till Monday, and we can work some stuff out. And Arlen's like, yeah, let's do that. So they put on batting gloves and they put on a fencing mask, and then they fight and break a couple fingers and get knocked out, and they learn more, and they start this credo: higher consciousness through harder contact. The higher the consequence, the greater the rub, right? I mean. But it gets, as it goes up, it fractionates. And so that's where I began. I started a real passion towards who are you under these conditions? And when this is what matters, who is it that shows up? What self are you defending? When a stick's whizzing by your head type of thing.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I really felt where I'd done a lot of things before where I'd been like in a flow state feeling like that, but I didn't know. I thought it was like accidental. When I fought, the first guy I fought, Mike Tibbetts, they call him Dogzilla, and I just seen tapes of him. He was a Marine lineman in football, and then he was a screw in a penitentiary out in Hawaii, I guess, like a federal joint. And he's this big monster of a dude. I just seen him run dudes down, and I'm a kid. I'm like, and I'm there with Arlen. It's the first fight ever, and he goes, hey, what's up, Mike? How you doing? He goes, yeah, cool. He says, here's Tait. Oh, cool. And he just kind of ignores me, and I don't know, he goes, he's never had a fight before. He'd be a good first fight for him. And he goes, who trains him? He goes, I train him. He goes, I'm not fighting him. Just like that. That's how Arlen's name is. Like, Arlen is a hammer. He's like, lead with power. Let's go. Doesn't need to be fancy. We lost a lot of the martial part when it got too artsy.
Yeah.
And so he was that kind of guy. And motherfuckers were scared of him because a lot of people would try to be really artsy. And a big overhand caveman would change a lot of the way people felt about things.
Yeah, I don't know what to search for.
Stick fighting.
Just stick fighting?
Yeah, Dog Brothers, probably. They do it in a gym now, I think. But we used to fight in a park in Hermosa Beach, and guys would get lawn chairs. Like, there'd be 200 people that would circle up, and there'd be 20 guys that came to fight, and it'd be like being at a dance and going, hey, do you want to go next? And then we go tell Mark, hey, we're going to go
I'd
next.
be like, nope.
And it was like that. And it's like, it was a trip. And it was
Get paid a couple $100?
No, this is for fun and for free.
This is fun and for free.
This is experience. Wild. This is love of the game, right? And it was like, and who are you? And then also, when
is that when
that was Eric,
artsy?
I think. I just saw him for a second, but I think that was Eric Knaus. Yeah.
Ooh. So how do you know when somebody loses? Do they just like stop? Or like what is?
Yeah. And so if you get a clean shot too, it stings in such like you can get hit on the top of your arm and it bruises instantly underneath. Yeah. Right? It just transfers. I've seen guys get hit across the thigh where the skin swells so much that it splits right away just from the swelling, right? And so Arlen was great about it, and he goes, listen, when you get hit with this stick, that's Mark Denny. When you get hit with this stick, it's gonna hurt. That's Eric, and he's a powerhouse. He's like 6'6".
Oh my God.
And I hit him once with the best shot ever, right across the inside of his thigh. He was opened up. I went low, crack, stung. I could see the mark instantly, and he just looks at me and he goes, "Nice shot." And that's what Arlen would say. He's like, "You got to put the pain somewhere else, or the pain's going to direct where this goes." And you can deal with that later. And so like that whole thing about this idea about put discomfort aside, it was like during those expenditures were the only times where I really was faced with that kind of stuff, where there is that high consequence. Mm-hmm. And if you are thinking about something else, now you're unconscious. So you better discipline your mind to think about the task at hand. And so it's like people look at fighting, like, but it's like I gained so much in those kinds of ways from it, you know? I mean, my whole view of life is through jiu-jitsu, really. Fancy.
Man.
Dang. Do you think like, okay, because I would assume maybe you already are good at dealing with pain at this point in your life, but like having to learn how to deal with this type of pain, especially for you getting into stunt work later, I feel like it probably helped out. Yeah. I'm not sure.
I mean, it's the thing, you know, I started learning early on, like, are you hurt or are you injured? And those are different things, right? The one thing, we're going to get more ongoing damage. The other thing is just uncomfortable. Let's go. And you don't always know. You know, I've been, truly injured, and I thought, let's just go. Because, that's the mindset you build. But I think that there's more benefit in that than there is I ran too hard down the road, you know?
How fitting that you were wearing a helmet for that, you know?
Right.
And then you ended up in this helmet. If it fit, you know what I mean? If it fits you, then you got the role.
Yeah. Me and Isaac, we used to fight. When we first met Arlen, we fought. It was like 40 days we had a training before we went to the first gathering. But Isaac and I must have fought each other 8 times a day. We would fight all the time. I worked in this nightclub. We had a big disco ball, and we had I think it was like a 2,000 square foot dance floor. It's a big dance floor. And we would go, because we had to wait. The bouncers had to wait until everybody counted their money out at the end of the night. So we're sitting around in there, and so I'm like, anytime we can train, let's train. And so we'd bring sticks in. I would get other bounce. You know, all my bouncers are like all these tough guys, but nobody tests. It's not like now where there's jujitsu guys. You're like, we can find out what's true right now. You know what I mean? But these guys are like, I don't know. Okay. And so then I'd get all these guys into stick fighting. Arlen's like, how do you get all these other training partners? Because the only reason he wanted to train me is so he could hit somebody with a stick. You know what I mean? It's like, it's hard to find somebody to train, to trade sticks with. And so he's like so excited. He's like, I bring Isaac, I bring Pat, I bring Vic, and we're all fighting under disco lights at night at 3 a.m, waiting for the bartenders to change. And that's how they got turned on to it. It was dope. It was a fun time.
Oh man.
But I like that. There's truth there. And that's the thing, is like, I always like, what's the nature of truth, and what is that? And what's the nature of life in that way? And if we don't have these well springs of truth, how do we come from it? And if I'm over here deluded about who I am, let's find out. Let's put yourself in a position where you really find out. And that's kind of, I think, I don't know, I'm glad I ran down that road,
You've still been searching for it.
Sure, man. I think it's a lifelong thing, because it's like the river changes as you take every step, right? And it's like, how do I reassess now and rebalance? I think that's the thing. You get to hold space, and you get to be balanced in life, and then things change, and now you have to readjust a little bit, and it's all that thing about how to be in allowance, but also own your own space, and yeah.
I don't think we're supposed to know, but I think it's good to continue to work to try to find it out.
Totally, man. I remember I watched this. You ever see Hamilton?
Yeah.
I haven't. Heard too much. I know. I've heard so much about it, but I haven't seen it,
dude. And when you're done here, go and get it. Get the musical.
I think it's on Disney Plus, right?
Yeah,
well, no, but you just listen to it in your car.
Okay. Okay.
It's amazing. Just that. Anyway, in it, I'm looking at it. I'm going, the king thinks he's a good guy. Aaron Burr thinks he's a good guy. Everybody thinks they're a good guy.
Yeah.
And then I think about everybody I know. Everybody thinks they're a good guy. I know some criminals, but it's like most people think that they're good. Yeah. And so then it begs the question, am I a good man? Right? And it's, again, you might not ever get an answer, but it's a good question to ask, because there's these blind spots. And that's why it's good to have a core group of people, how it's just like being in the suit. And I don't know how it looks. It's like, I need people to tell me, dude, that looks funny, dude. You're rubbing this guy. What are you doing, man? Why are you torturing these people, Tait? You know what I mean?
So are you good at handling pain? I don't know. Let's fight with these sticks and find out, right? Right. It makes sense. It makes sense that that's kind of where you started.
Yeah. Yeah.
Try to find out what's true. And I think when something hurts, it's like almost like the only thing that we know is real.
And
right?
I think it's easier to deal with any emotional stuff that you might have, you know what I mean? It's like at that time in my life, there's no way I'm going to be able to hold any, like, whatever emotional traumas have happened or whatever. You're not going to get through that. The only way I can express it really is pain and expenditure, and how do I control this energy inside me? And that was a big part of that, of like how to direct and discipline myself, and in that can become a responsible and cooperative member of society in a way that is like different,
right?
That's actually useful.
Because you can't just beat the shit out of people with sticks all the time.
There's a time in your life where you think, I need to pull that guy out of the car and he just needs to know that this can happen, right? and it's a benefit to everybody. But there's too many people. That's obviously not the sustainable way, because you can't do that. So then I'm going, okay, so you're tickling some kind of egocentric thing where you want to die. Like, so we're not doing that. right? It's like, so when you go and I want to raise higher standards for my own character and what that looks like. It's like, I got to look for new answers if one's not sustainable anymore, I think,
Yeah.
Because your knuckles will get sore. There's too many people that drive like that. You literally will turn your hands to dust. You can't.
And the point might not always even get across.
And I might be wrong.
You might be wrong.
We talk a lot about like, fitness being good for your mental health. And I've found like, doing jujitsu for the past few years, it's something that allows me to, I don't go and hurt my training partners. I'm not like outletting on my training partners, but I know that I do that. I roll with people,
Andrew, is there any truth to this, Andrew?
Afterwards,
have
great.
people been kind of injured after they rolled with you?
Well, I mean, but when I was earlier,
no, I know absolutely what you're saying.
I mean?
I'm just being silly.
But it feels good afterwards. And I know like for my mental health, it's something I'm going to do for the rest of my life, no matter what, right? So for you, when it came to like stick fighting, and you said you were in like, you did some wrestling and jujitsu, but has that been something, or physicality, has that been something that has allowed you to, I guess, even out your mind? Yeah. Is that a tactic for you?
Yeah. It's huge. I mean, about jiu-jitsu, it's like you're in it for, you get a blue belt, you get 3 stripes on your white belt. You're talking to everybody about getting into jiu-jitsu. I mean, everybody, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, this is going to be my life. By the time you're a blue belt, you're like, I'm going to have my own school. You know what I mean? Everybody does that, right?
Yeah.
It's like everybody that gets sober goes, I'm going to be a drug counselor, I think. Like it's like there's certain things that people are just like, this is the way. My life has changed, because it's that good.
Yeah.
It's that beneficial where you want to give your whole lifeblood to it. And and I think that I think it's necessary for young people to not only do that just energy-wise to be able to control yourself, but like, have dominion over your body, right? It's like if I don't have dominion over my intellect and over my emotional state, if I'm leaky emotionally, Jesus Christ, who's more dangerous than that, right? Yeah. Intellectually, physically, spiritually, if I don't have those 4 things, like if I'm not looking at them as markers that like, I need to get that into a balance, right? They're going to overrun you because these are things that are powerful inside you. And so, things will either ask you to feed them or they'll get fed one way or another, right? It's going to happen. And so to be intentional about it, I think it unwittingly, I wasn't smart enough to know any of that. It just, that's what happened in retrospect, right? Yeah. But that's for sure what jiu-jitsu's done, and then made me helpful to other people. But why I think everybody ought to do it is so they have mastery over their self, and they feel safe, because there's a lot of these false sense of safeties that are, I mean, people speak of safe spaces and this and that, and they speak, I look at it as a kid and I see America going to give freedom to other countries, right? The result never looked like freedom, right? And I just thought, you can only take your own freedom. It's the only, nobody can give that to you, and nobody can give me safety. I have to have my awareness to have safety. I have to have some modicum of ability to have safety. And to assume that I have it without that is insane. Yeah. And so I think jiu-jitsu is the best thing ever for anybody, because, I mean, I love Muay Thai. Like, so, yeah, we were talking earlier. I had a bad brain injury in 2019. I got hurt pretty bad and had to recover from it a lot. And so I hadn't done very little physical stuff. And I started kickboxing last week again.
Nice.
But I hadn't hit mitts in 4 years because I'm afraid of the concussion I didn't know if the sound would, because sounds were real sensitive to me. And then I didn't know I didn't know. And so but then I finally go, fuck it. I got feeling good enough to where I didn't feel like I'm going to melt into a puddle and I need to shoot myself in the chest. I wasn't feeling like that anymore. And I thought maybe I could go a little. And I go, you got to push into it, Tait. You got to push into it. You got to push it. And so one of my black belts, Ruben Rivera, he just started a Dwayne Ludwig school at our jiu-jitsu school in Santa Fe.
Yeah. And
so I just started hitting mitts with him last week, and that kind of like of breathing life back into you, of feeling like I hadn't had that in all those years, brother. And that thing is a gift, and so like that movement is a gift, and like I want to curate that. I want to, it begets more. It's just like the bad thoughts that I want to sit around, like shit, it compounds to where you can't move. But so does the good stuff. And so if you can just push into those little walks, like when you'd be going, just walk for 10 minutes a day, you guys, or you go and break into a run. I go, slow down, Mark, easy now, but like I can do that. I can do, and just, And it's like before it was like, I just need you to try. I just want you to try, man. Just don't stop trying. You don't have to get anywhere. Just don't stop trying. If you're in the try, at least you're in the conversation. Yeah. And that's where I just, go, I had to get back into the try. I was started fresh again, but it's, I think it's one of the best things that I can do for my life,
Power Project family, how's it going? Now, we talk about sleep all the time on the podcast because it's one of the biggest things that helps you with your health and fitness, your recovery, your muscle gain, your fat loss, everything. That's why I've partnered with 8 Sleep for such a long time now, because the technology behind the mattress allows you to track your heart rate, the amount of times it takes you to fall asleep, your tosses and turns, your heart rate variability. It changes its temperature through the night based off how you sleep, but not only yourself, but maybe your partner on the other side of the bed. It is an amazing mattress. Andrew, how can they learn more?
Yes, head over to 8sleep.com/power project. That's 8 spelled out, EIGHT, sleep.com/power project. Along with more information, you guys will actually save $150 off of your entire order automatically. Links to them down in the description, as well as the podcast show notes.
You mentioned, you said the term leaky emotions.
Yeah.
And I think that's really critical that people kind of pause on that one, because it's leaking into other aspects of your life, and it's going to impact your relationship. It's going to impact your reactions to things.
Yeah, it poisons people around me. It's if I'm coaching, right? And I'm in a room and there's people that are looking to me to lead them and give them some kind of skill acquisition or whatever. And I'm like, hey, how are you guys doing? Yeah, my dog just died today. So I've just fucked the whole class. But they're not there. It's not my therapy here. I'm here for them. And so I think that kind of stuff, it's like I can see in different ways where do my emotions leak out and affect other people in an adverse way or something, right? It's like, what do I want to leave folks with? And it doesn't mean don't be vulnerable and don't talk about losses, but it's like time and place and who's in front of me. It matters a lot. And it matters to be able to hold the space of that stuff so that those emotions aren't ruling my everyday. Because if I'm saying that in class, that means I'm not paying attention to what class is, and I'm not going to, you know what I mean? I've been lost already. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of, there's a lot of dangers of it, but, and not even being expressed, but fuck, you go crazy. If your emotions rule your mind, it's a dark place to be, And so I think those disciplines where you have non-negotiables, that's what I'm doing now. Build my non-negotiables back. I'm going to get in the ice every day. There's not a conversation. I'm going to go and I'm going to move every day. I'm going to be in the light every day. And you start to build these non-negotiables, and that becomes a life, right? And then if it slips, you got to get back on it, because it's not like you get off the road and people are like, oh, I got off track a little bit. Mm-hmm. If we're on a track, it's going uphill. So if I get off track a little bit, it keeps going uphill, and I've waited. I've retarded my growth by however long I've waited. So that's why I say stay in the try. I don't care how little it is. And like when guys like you go out and are like, just do this littlest bit, man, that's enough. Stay in the fucking game, whatever it is. I mean, taking care of my friend Harrison a few years ago, this the 90-year-old gentleman that I hung out with, he was like doing what he wanted to get off the toilet by himself. He wanted to be able to clean himself. And so we'd go to the gym like that, but it's like he'd keep moving. He'd dance. He'd do, and it's like, that's the thing. It's like you say jujitsu for the rest. Yeah, man, if I can't do jujitsu, I'm going to do flamenco. I need to be in movement where I'm thinking, I'm in unison, I'm with somebody else, because that thing about fighting that other guy that first time at that Dog Brothers turn was like God came in. There's like another energy that comes. You're with somebody else and you're giving your all to them. And I think that's the rule. You can't be trying to not lose. You're both giving your all to this thing. There's another expression that happens that inculcates the two people that are there, and is a third entity that is like, it's like a God energy or something. And I don't know. I've been grateful for opponents for that for a long time, because I can't get that by myself. Mm-hmm. I need to be in that hard rub against somebody else that also has a dominate, and then something happens outside of that. I mean, and that's why guys hug. That's why they're so fucking grateful after they come. I mean, who loves each other more than guys that just fought each other? It's like, It's insane, But that's what's happening. There's a bigger thing that happens when we come together to make each other better. And that's, at the end of the day, it's competition, but that's what we're doing. In the Dog Brothers, they would talk about it all the time. This is to make the tribe stronger. It's not for somebody to dominate another member. And that's what Eric would do so well. These guys that are fucking mentors, man. Mm-hmm. Eric would fight to your level, to where I would think I was doing good. Okay?
Yeah.
You know the guys, right? They're so good that they make you like a child, and they can also lead you to, oh yeah, you almost got me there. You know what I mean? And then you see them against somebody that is just masterful, and they just you're like, I'm not that good. You know, I remember sparring with guys at the gym, and it was me, it was me and Keith, and we're sparring, and then one of my students is there and he's watching us. And I just invite him to come, it's like whatever. But afterwards he learned two things. Shut up about whatever happens in the gym, because you don't even know what you're looking at. And just come in and keep your head down, work hard. And because he says to me afterwards, he goes, "You're doing fucking great. Dude, you were lighting him up. You're doing great." I go, "What are you talking about?" And I go, "Do you understand that he's trying to do just a 3-part combination?" And that's what he's doing. He's not doing anything else. He's not taxing me anywhere. You don't even know what you're looking at, right? And that's when people are really good. It's like they can do all kinds of shit and be safe. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did anything come to mind when he was talking about that?
Oh, just like, training partners and stuff. And it's just like, man, I think, like I'll talk to you guys, or I'll come home and be like, dude, I got like my first submission today. And then I'll see that same guy and be like, oh, wait a second. He looks like he's about to be a blue belt. Like, oh, I see what's happening. He's letting me work. So like early on I had no idea, but I've been that guy. Yeah.
And it's great. That's the great thing. You get to evolve in a short time in jiu-jitsu.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
What takes 10 years to know that, I made a mistake in life. Like your coach, whoever you train with, could go, no, you didn't put a whizzer in. And that's where it went wrong. And then I swept you, and then I took your back. Like, but if you'd have just done that, then none of that happens, right? You change history. Yeah. And you get to be that guy. Like when new guys would come in, I go, listen. And they go, this sucks. This is fucking hard. These guys aren't top of it. Fuck, I don't have any breath. There's a lot of things you come up against when you come into class.
Yeah.
And then you're getting trounced by everybody. And I go, dude, if you leave, you'll never find out. And he goes, find out what? I go, you know how you feel like a bitch right now? He goes, yeah. I go, well, one day there's going to be somebody that walks in the door real soon, and that'll be your bitch. But you're never going to meet him if you leave. But that's the thing is like, you work on your defenses then for 6 months or a year. And then all of a sudden you're like, I got a Kimura on a guy, and it's like that, and you break through.
How different was jiu-jitsu when you started? Was it, were people kind of walking into these academies and stuff like that, which they're probably few and far between, with like a chip on their shoulder, like wanting like fight rather than like, oh, I want to learn jiu-jitsu. Like it's different now, right?
Yeah, but the guys that stay are like super nerds. You know what I mean? It's like dudes that are cerebral that stay. It's like, it's not any of those guys that watch the UFC. I mean, we'd have those guys that they come in and because it looks easy. And if you're dumb, you're like, that must be easy. You know what I mean? And so you come in and you go and you're confounded.
90 seconds later, you realize you're out of your mind. Yeah.
And the same story again and again, regardless if it's a child, a woman, me, whoever it is, we're all going to have the same result with you. And so there was that. I mean, we did a thing because back then you needed to be in Florida, Southern California. Carlos Machado was in Texas. Renzo had gone up to, he moved to New York and started, and people thought he was crazy. His cousins, everybody, it's so cold up there, and like, and it was weird, a Brazilian in New York, right? Yeah. And Renzo with his smile, he warms up any room he's in, so it's just like that. And so, but you had to be in specific places. And so the reason Greg Jackson got big down in Albuquerque was because Chris Luttrell was stewarded on the planes, and he would go to different places. He'd go to Florida, he'd go train, pick some stuff up there. He'd go up to Washington and he'd go and train up there a little bit. He'd go see Eric Paulson, and so he'd pick things up and bring them back to a group of highly aggressive wrestlers that were in Albuquerque. And so then they just started submission wrestling in this new world that was coming up of competitions. Wrestlers can actually now go and compete because after you're in high school, if you don't make it, you're done, And so there was that kind of thing, and a fight team broke out of that. Now, an hour north is where me, Arlen Sanford, Alberto Crane came back. He was a brown belt. He won the states and anyways, he came back really good jiu-jitsu arrow, and he coached me until I was a purple belt. And then I went to LA and started with Eddie Bravo and trained with him since, and Renato Migliaccio, who was another buddy of mine from Brazil that lived with me for a few years, and he ended up giving me a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and then Eddie gave me a black belt in 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. But at that time, it was like you had to seek it out, and it was like, you know. So guys now ask, they go, "Hey, how can I get in the stunt business? How can I get in the?" I go, "You got to live somewhere where they do the thing you want to do." And most people are like, "That's the conversation's over, right?" Most people, that's the stop right there. And it brings me to the next thing about, you know, belief. And like I said, I wish I'd have had more. But the facts are is that, yeah, everybody's going to tell you about whatever you want to do, whether it's starting a business or writing a book. It's 1,000,000 to 1, dude. Just stay at the factory. You know what I mean? It's 1,000,000 to 1. And there was such a scarcity when I was a kid. It's like that was the prevailing shit.
Yeah, go to college.
But nobody tells you it's 1,000,000 to 1 because people are weak and soft and they quit. And if you just stick to the thing, if you love the thing, and then stick to it, because that's what you ought to be true to.
And you course correct, even if the thing itself didn't work out, you course correct and keep maneuvering.
That's just what Greg would say, Coach Jackson, and he would say you got to have a plan, but be really ready to change the plan. You know, and he loved Shackleton, right? And the wrecked up in the Arctic, and he had to mobilize his men because he's got plenty of food and all that, but he knew the men would turn on each other if they didn't mobilize for a mission, and so he hiked them in the Arctic and saved everybody. But it's like that. It's like you got to be able to move your mission. But if you don't move decisively, your men don't believe you. You know, so you have to have that conviction, and also now don't be wrong. You know, in a world of mystery.
Can I just pause you for a second right here? You need to have a fucking podcast.
Well, one day.
Dude, you're so amazing with your words. And if you don't have like a book in the works, I think that is something that would be really cool.
Thanks, man.
To see someday. Because you got some I've known you for a long time.
Long time.
But you got some crazy wisdom and just a ton of experience in a lot of different things. I think you have a lot of great things to share with the world.
Well, I kind of, it's like, it's almost like a challenge in a way, because it's like, I'd like to, you know, I got 7 chapters of a book written, I'd done, and then I got hurt. I just stopped, everything stopped.
What chapter are we on right now?
I know, right? Fuck. and then my podcast, I got to relearn how to do a podcast. Like I just hit up this kid. I go, what do I need to do? Like, and he's like, you've got fucking 300 episodes. I go, I don't know how to do it anymore. And it's like, so I'd like that. And I like liking that. Like that's a step ahead, because there's a point where there's no way that I can.
I'm not losing my mind, right? He's good with his words, right?
He said a word that even Nsima was like, wait a second. And Nsima's usually the one that can teach us. So for him to...
it's fastidious.
Yeah.
There we go. I was like,
Festivus.
For the rest of us.
We're going to festivals. See you guys at Burning Man, right?
That's right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever explored, like, oh, my camera died, the like the opposite of, like, I guess I'll say jujitsu or the stick fighting and, like, I don't know, meditation and that sort of thing, as far as like
but
finding balance?
I wouldn't call it the opposite at all.
Okay.
Because I think it all dovetails. You know, I think it's necessary. It's like reflecting on tape. You know, when you watch tape of yourself in movement, and you're like, you get so much better if you watch, right? It's maybe uncomfortable to watch yourself, but that's the critical part that makes your movement dial in better, because you hate the way that or whatever the thing is, right? That corrects.
You can't even believe that that's you when you watch it back. You're like, I move like that.
The first time you hear your voice on a recorder, right?
I sound that way. Yeah. Nah, it ain't me.
Yeah, like, or just like getting stuck in someone's side control again. It's like, dude, I fucking hate when that guy puts so much pressure on me. I'm going to do whatever it takes to never get stuck inside. Well, at least.
Well, and here's the other part of it too, is like in the meditation and all that is like, how do you get comfortable if a guy's in side control? Do you know what I mean? It's like, where can I find comfort no matter where I am? And so how do I really own myself? And my energy,
so you're not even thinking
breath.
about necessarily getting out of it.
Right. I mean, you're safe. Because if the first thing is I'm not safe, then all I have to do is get safe. But if I'm already safe, well, now I can move and I can advance. But if I'm not safe yet, I'm 2 steps behind. And like Hickson would talk about it, he goes, you advance, you know, we both start at 0. And then you go to 1, and I don't let you go to 1. And then I go to 2. And once I go to 2, I never go back to 1. And once I go to 3, we go to checkmate. And it's like he just thinks about it in that way. It's like, I'm not going to make a wasted movement. And when I do make the movement, it's going to stick, right? And if it doesn't, I have an alternate where it's a finish. And that's the beautiful part about jiu-jitsu, is the mind gets real loose about that, right? And you get to see people's options.
What, you know, being from New Mexico and being around that area and probably being around Bones Jones and people like that, like what separates out Bones Jones from a lot of other fighters? What do you think makes him?
I don't know. The one conversation I had when he first came in, I remember Nate Marquardt was fighting Anderson Silva. We were right before that camp, and that was the first time I ever saw Jon move. I didn't know him at all before he fought Stephan Bonner. Rest in peace.
Yeah, what a great fighter he was.
Good man, everything, And so, and I watched him whip his ass. And Stephan is competent everywhere, but wrestling, no chance. Body lock him and throw him through insane. I was like, this is insane. You don't see athletes that are equal athletes that handle each other that way very often. And then he's throwing elbows that are like jabs. And I was just like, this is crazy. So then anyway, a couple months later, he comes down to the gym because he had just trained in New York, I guess. And then I see him at Jackson's. I go, hey, man, what's up? I'm Tait. And I go, hey, because everybody I knew, that had come through, everybody's going to Thailand. They're going to Holland, when they want to kickbox. Or they're going, maybe they go to San Francisco. There's, they're going to specifics. I go, so where'd you learn the Muay Thai? And he goes, straight face, he goes, YouTube. And then he goes, and I go, you motherfucker. Because I'm like instantly like, you know how hard I have to work, YouTube, right? And then he goes, and I believe. And that part of it, man, that I believe, it's fucking strong, dude. And then you start seeing guys move like that are like, you see something on the internet, it brings a human possibility to your mind. The internet opened up possibility for people. The parkour and trickers that we see now, when you see that kind of stuff, that's because of video. Because for a mind to just come with that from the ground up and not see it visually, but now to have it out there where it's like all these different expressions, that kind of movement, kids are mimicking that, and they're like, yeah, and they're moving like goddamn they're in Tekken or something. You know what I mean? It's fucking bananas. So that probably dates me a lot. Huh?
There was probably
man, Tekken 8's coming out soon.
There was, I remember there was some with Anderson Silva. His coach was like, he just keeps working on this weird back spinning elbow. He's like, I'll just let him do whatever because he's creative, and he's like, he's got some weird belief that he's gonna land this shot, and he landed the shot and knocked the guy out.
Yeah.
Just somehow some of these guys that are great, they just, I don't know what they're seeing, but they're seeing some sort of algorithm that maybe lays out a little differently than the rest of us.
I think also it's like survive, it's like I used to do self-defense classes, and I did them primarily for women. I had people that ask me, how to, I want a awareness and rape defense class and all that. And for me, I think jiu-jitsu is the best thing for that in any kind of way. And it's like, how do you present that in a way that's soft enough to get received, right? Because you're talking about brutality in a lot of ways, But one of the things that brings it to mind about that spinning elbow is that I would just want people to learn. If I could get you to know one thing, at least I know that when you get there, if you survive and you can get to somebody's back, they spin. If you have a chance to get to that, you can put them to sleep. You can close the show, right? And I figured in an hour, maybe that's what somebody can take away. And then my secondary hope would be like a triangle choke, because I think that's a primary move for a woman if she's about to be abused in that way, especially if she's been knocked to the ground and she's dozed, and you're in the most powerful position you can be in if you can be confident in that movement, right? And walk away with a do to sleep, which is the best way. But that thing, if you just know a rear naked choke, eventually if there's two untrained guys, one of us is going to be in a position where we can close the show. And I think that's the thing is like, if I'm only thinking, I'm good everywhere else, I'm safe, but I want to throw this flying knee. Well, I'm going to make it work, George Masvidal, or whatever, right? It's like, I'm going to and so it's like those kinds of things when you're, like Jon Favreau, when he sets the tone of all the grid work with that fastidious nature, right? Then he can allow for magic to happen. And it's kind of the same way.
He already told you that that's how it's going to go down.
If your skill set is already so good and you're adept at being safe everywhere, well, fuck, if I want to throw this one super missile in, and I'm going to try it a bunch of times, but I'll be safe no matter what, because I'll never be, you got to be safe and then they do it. And I don't know. And that's, the thing that makes a guy that does it and not do it is the guy that has the balls enough to be able to do it and not play safe. And that's the thing about throwing it all in the wind. My friend Logan Gelbrich that owns Deuce Gym, he wrote a book called Going Right. And it talks all about that, about how it's to your best advantage to do the thing that's the hardest thing that you really want to set your eyes into. And to go another way is not to serve yourself. And And there's proof to that, and we can see it all over the place anecdotally. And I think it's really important because it's hard to be brave to go after what you really want to do or what you think is maybe a audacious endeavor, you know? Because it's all possible. People are doing it. You can do it.
Look at Muhammad Ali. I mean, he did that to George. No, thank you. I appreciate
fuck,
that.
Dude. I mean, seriously, it's like all over the place, you know? You look at that and there's just legends because people are paying attention to what they love and doing what they love, you know?
Nootropics. Every single biohacker and their mother talks about the benefits of lion's mane or alpha GPC, blah, blah, blah. We have this mix of supplement, but no one really tells you how to analyze what you actually should be trying to take or what problems you may have. That's why Andy Triana has made the Nootropics ebook now on our website at powerproject.live. Now, we've had Andy on our podcast multiple times and he's educated us on so many different things along with nootropics. But in this ebook, he goes in depth on how to analyze what your problems may be specifically and how to utilize nootropics to help fix those issues or to help progress in certain areas. Like if you're wanting to speak better, think faster, communicate better. There's so many things he goes in depth on in this ebook, and you can get it now on our website at powerproject.live. The link's in the description along with the podcast show notes.
If you take a look at like Muhammad Ali, I mean, he did that to George Foreman. He basically spelled it out how the match was going to end. You're big and strong and you punch hard and stuff. But I've been in the ring with Sonny Liston. I know he punches way harder than you. I've been in the ring with this guy. He's a way better boxer than you. And let's face it, you're not in great shape. You're a big guy. You're going to be super tired towards the end of the fight. And I think Ali, like famously in like the 8th round or 9th round, he told him, "Is that all you got, George?" And George Foreman was he was gassed and he was like, "That is all I got."
Yeah.
You know, next round he's on the ground.
Can you imagine getting shit talked by Muhammad Ali?
Oh, it's got to be wild.
Just him in your ear, just nonstop.
Just talking to you the whole time, telling you what's going to happen to you. You're like, fuck.
You got to imagine, like, it probably also maybe, well, like when people do that and they're really confident about it, like Ali was, to be the opponent, you might also maybe start to believe what they're telling you.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of hypnosis that's going on there, and you don't even realize it.
Yeah, it at least plants the seed, right?
Well, Ali probably got destroyed by the punch that Foreman just landed. It probably hurt really bad.
Right. And then there's
you
that.
Probably like,
right?
man, I hope he doesn't hit me with another one of those. But he said instead he chose to say, "Is that all you got?"
And there's that winning that fight, right, at those costs. And then you look at what the cost is. The cost is I, on that fight, lived on my chin. And now I learned I can live on my chin. And so I do that. And now they tell me I have Parkinson's. And I don't have Parkinson's. What I have is late stage brain injury from fucking living on my chin. And it's
right.
And from a guy that could evade, right? And it's like, it's interesting. I mean, I don't say that for one reason or another, except to say that we just know, we know more now about how to stay safe. And like, I'd really like to get into a position where it's like, how do we, because I think combat sports are so important, but I think that we have I think I have, in the position I'm in and the road I've been on and what I know, responsibility to go, how can we train for longevity at the same time? What would be the way that we could fortify our minds so that we're not putting ourselves at risk all the time? I mean, when I was fighting, it was only just it was after that, and it just became popular to not spar every day, right? I mean, I think it was...
Look at someone like Floyd Mayweather. I mean, he seems like...
They hit mitts.
Yeah.
Right? They hit
Seems
mitts.
like he's doing all right.
And that's what those guys that are super smart do. They go, I'm going to stay mitts. I don't need to. Why? I forget who it was that said it. He was an Iowa fighter. He's famous. He fought
Miletich? Pat Miletich?
Is one of his guys, bald headed, Robbie Lawler. And Robbie says, I already know I'm tough. Why do I need to spar twice a week? Yeah. Right? I just need timing. I just need to get with a good mitt guy. And that's but nobody thought that. People thought we need to be in the fire every day, you know? But we didn't know that wore on you, you know? We had no idea. Yeah. So anyway, we got different responsibilities in 2023. Plus, I think for football too. I mean, I watched a fucking guy go down on a Sunday and then he played Monday again. And I mean, there's dudes that, I mean, it's like, there's something we got to talk about for sure, but not to belabor it. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of benefits that we could put in. And I think there's a lot of onus and responsibility on groups like the UFC and the NFL, NHL. I think there's a real opportunity for those groups to come together and go, here's what we can do for young athletes to have longevity so they don't kill themselves later. Because, you know, if we're going to look at numbers, we got a lot of combat athletes or people that are in concussive sports that kill themselves, and that's not a coincidence.
Have you noticed like a connection for yourself with like concussions? And you have mentioned that you wanted to kill yourself before, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's 100% connected. I mean, what happens is there's a mystery that happens inside deep concussion when you, and it wasn't one, it was like it's a bunch for me, and then one signifying event that I was really hurt in that made me look at it all. But I think that the warping of your mind, like I said earlier when we were talking, it kind of, your character changes, and it's slow and it's subtle. And like I said, my mom noticed, she's like, you're just darker, or like, it's like, you're more rigid, and like things are changing, and like the way my outlook was changing. And what happens is, that inside there's little brief moments where and you become a stranger to yourself, and you got to go. And it just is an untenable weight to carry, like this unbecoming of yourself. It's a madness. And yeah, it seemed like suicide was the only way out. And I was fortunate enough to talk about that with a couple people with like going, I don't see what I can do. And they go, well, are you willing to try to do this other thing? And I did. And that started to get another change in me to where I could get some, it feels like you're just slipping. And it felt like I could get a foothold a little bit. And like, maybe I could, and that's what you need is hope in this motherfucker. You need hope, whether it's to put up 500 pounds on a bench press or to get through the day or whatever. It's like, you need hope. You need to go, maybe I could. Okay, I got a little balance here. Okay, and it's little by little, And that's the thing with brain injuries too. If anybody's afflicted or whatever, it takes time and it looks baffling, and your family will leave you. And it won't be because they're bad people. It becomes a crazy thing, where I push the closest people away from me, because I'm afraid I can't help myself, and now I become pitiful and vulnerable in a way that I'm unaccustomed to, and I don't know how to do this, and I can't have you be witness to it, And so there's an isolating aspect to it, and that's not a lot of good information because I'm just in my head all the time about it then, And so, I owe a lot of people just for the comfort that it had, that I could draw the next breath and then go, hey, maybe if you put your feet over here. And I go, okay, I got nothing else to do. Let me put my feet over there. And people like Dan Engel really helped me, a psychologist, psychiatrist. He was super helpful just in the acknowledgement and just in like, he understood the language he understood what I was under. Mm-hmm. And
some of this didn't have anything to do with like your career, your finances.
No.
It was just like your own.
Thank God.
Right? Like,
thank God that other stuff wasn't there.
You were secure.
I felt super guilty about it too. Cause I'd only just, I knew what it was like to have to go to a hyperbaric chamber. It's $100 a session.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to not be able to do that. It wasn't long ago, right? Where it's like that, what, I'm going to go 4 times a week? It's impossible. Mm-hmm. Right? And then you go, I'm this fucked. And I know there's guys that don't have any resources. And like, there's like a survivor guilt about it. It's like, and it's like, I need to be helpful where I can be helpful, man, because it's a suffering that unless I think you're afflicted, it's hard to understand what that is. And so I don't know what that path is for me, but I'd be open to whatever, man. I'm into the discussion and I'm into helping people. And I want, it's like that it matters. It's of high consequence, and it's a pleasure to be able to meet with people like that and have them go, oh, you get it. Because for me, when like Dan came to me like that, it was just like this awful sense of alone. You're just not alone.
Was there any particular thing in the beginning that hooked you, that allowed you to get that footing?
A lot of it was just Lacey was looking for me with her eyes and kept me, I think, from hurting myself for a long time. And then I'd moved back to Santa Fe and just kind of was in the woods, and I go, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just going to be up here and see how it goes. And then I went to this place, braintreatmentcenter.com, and where they do MERT is the name of the therapy. And they do EEGs of your brain, and they see what the wavelengths are and how they're differing and if they're in conflict with one another, and they try to straighten those out. They do that for autistic kids and guys with severe head injuries. So there's a bunch of war fighters and me and little kids with autism in these offices. It's the funniest office visit you ever went to. But you go in and they shoot magnets at a certain frequency at certain points of your head wherever you're afflicted. And I don't know, it sounds like miracle magic shit. Mm-hmm. It sounds crazy what I'm going to say, but like I'd had depression since I was a kid. Like it wasn't like all head injuries. It's like I'd known that, I'd known that feeling, that cloak for a long time. And about the third day I'm in this place, it's in Newport Beach, and I get up at like 6 a.m. and I go in the shower and walk in the bathroom, and And I just got a grin on my face. And I go, what in the fuck what's, dude, it's early. Let's get in the shower. What are we doing? And I was like, in the shower, and I was like, God, it's weird. It's like that thing's not here anymore. And it was like that depression was separate from me, and it had never been before. And I didn't tell anybody for 3 days because, like I said, I'd done a lot of different things that would get me down the road a little bit, and then I'd slip back, and that makes you feel a certain way about, like, this is fatal anyway. And so I didn't want to say anything and jinx something. But, like, on that Sunday later, I called the guy that helped me out and get in there. And they were, Spencer and Fred were both just like, this is fantastic, man. These are great results, and let's keep this up and whatever we can do. And results vary for people. For me, it was super instrumental, and it gave me enough footing that I could go, maybe I could say yes to my next job. Maybe I could seamlessly go into, maybe every time I pull in the parking lot of Whole Foods, I could go inside and not be nervous, right? Because that's like, for me, it's hard to even relate to myself, but like from a guy that led a certain kind of life that you're like, that's a certain kind of guy. And to be that vulnerable was like, it was mind bending for me. I was like,
scary just to go get in your car and go somewhere and be in public and all that.
Yeah. And so even like right now, standing here with you, I mean, this is all for me part of like, I appreciate it because it's like, it's a place where it's calm enough, safe enough, where you're like, you're supported in a way, and you're like, yeah, we can express, and that vulnerability is not an issue, and I love that spot because it's not an issue. It shouldn't be an issue. I don't need to be, it's like that thing when I said earlier about, you see a lot of people and they're like kids that are like backs against the wall and like, what do I, and there's places in the world, and they're everywhere with people like you guys where there's a kindness that you don't need defenses for. And that's a place, that's a space to create for folks. And that's, something I think that we all ought to look to hold because everybody needs it at different times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With the, you said it was called MERT?
Yeah, MERT.
So is that for people who have just had brain injuries, or do people go in that just have like massive amounts of depression too?
Yeah, my friend Shane just went in that was just like, he's like, I'm 48 or whatever, and I get tired in the afternoon, and I surf all the time, and so I've got like these mild damages that have happened all the time. But I mean, mild damages, he surfs jaws and shit. It's like that's a huge drop.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. People, the center, they have another offshoot of it where they have a take-home device that you can have. And guys use that every day, and I'd like to get one of those too. But yeah, you can. I mean, just for brain fog, as easy as like when Shane hit me up, he was with Fred, and he says this helps me a lot, and I have nothing like what you got. And then I talked to Fred. I told him what was going on for me, and he goes, "Dude, I can help you." Mm-hmm. And so, from mild range to severe range, like they're finding guys get leveled out. And then I saw kids, man. In this thing, I saw autistic kids. There's this one kid, and he was walking up. I walk in. It was a long hallway, COVID days, so you wait in the hallway, skinny, long hallway, and all these offices. And so you got to knock on the door, and then they come in, they take your temperature. Mm-hmm. So lady's outside with her little boy, and her little boy goes, and he's down the hallway, echoes. It sounds like a bowling ball getting thrown down the hall. Like he's, I don't know, 3 feet tall. He's probably 8 years old, and he's like 60 pounds, and he's just, and then he comes back to mom, and he's left, right, on mom's legs, and he's just energetic, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like hurt, and I'm like, he's gonna notice me. And then he's going to turn us and right then the door opens, and I go, yes. And they say, yeah, come on in. And I'm like, just Heisman, the little kid. But half hour later, I leave, and then I got to come back upstairs because I forgot my glasses. Mm-hmm. And as I'm coming upstairs, mom and the little kid are walking down, and he's quiet as can be. He's got her hand. And she's going, 1, 2, dos, as they go down each step. And he's as calm and as together as any kid, and I just watch miracles, and I'm like, did I see a miracle happen? And it's like, what we don't know about the brain health industry is like so, it's just this big mystery that I'm like, I can't wait to get into it more because I think there's so much help there that with a brain injury, you don't know you're hurt. It's the lens through which you see life. And so if that lens is skewed, you're not of awareness that it's skewed. You don't get that until you get feedback from those around you, right? And that feedback is coming usually at a time when people are upset because they're not just giving feedback, right? And so you're down the road a bit by that time. And then you're in a blind spot because you don't even understand it. So anyway, even, to do little bits to get towards that kind of health, I started finding out how long I'd been hurt after I started getting well. I had no idea how long I'd been hurt until I started unwrapping some of these stuff. And like I said, it's been, 4 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you were saying earlier about trauma. You were saying kind of reminds you of doing the dishes.
Yeah. That if you take care of the dishes right away, you can just rinse that off and wipe them off, and it's clean, and you can. But if you let it stick, man, it's hard, and it soaks, and it leaves residual. And physical trauma, like whenever I'd hurt myself, if I wanted to it'll be okay, dude. That shit stays. I've got it today still. The stuff that I would go and I'd see a body worker right away, it would even it out. And the same thing with, I think, emotional trauma is like, you walk through a lot of stuff as a kid and you go, well, I just got through that. Thank God I'm strong. And that's beyond it. And now I got new things to work. And you never look at it again. And then maybe you reflect back and you go, wow, that thing shaped and altered the way all my relationships went in my whole life. Changed the way I viewed people, changed my relationship with people in power. You know what I mean? And until I, get in the rearview mirror on some stuff, I don't know that, and, so with the injury and with all that, I don't know. I couldn't be happier. I mean, really with where I am. I mean, is it better to know or not know? It's like I was hurt already, and then I got hurt enough to go and look into it. And to me, that's God or whatever energy that is, And I love that too. I love that there's things working. I tell people all the time, they're like, God, I didn't even know you knew about, I'd see one of my friend's kids or something. I go, I want you to know, man, you got people that are on your side that you haven't even met yet. You got people that are rooting for you that you don't fucking know. So act like it. You act like it, And my friend says to me, because I was like, God, these fractures and fucking all this, and I'm being self-pitying about it. And she goes, Tait, things tend to heal. Things tend towards healing. Your body tends towards healing without even knowing about it, And I think that that's the kind of thing that is, that I can take solace in when I'm in that place, when I can't move, when I can't direct anything. Like, what are you doing to walk towards health? Like, maybe nothing, but maybe it's just breathing. Because maybe curating that calm space, like curating a calm space when somebody's on top of you in side control, maybe that's not different, And that power, that breath is something that I was reduced enough to get attuned to understand that in a different way, Yeah.
What have you found that, because even on your page, you talked about it before, but you mentioned that like ice is something that it's a non-negotiable, it's something you do every day. Yeah. Why?
Well, the number one thing is because I don't wanna. And so
yeah,
and so I wanna, what I try to do every morning is shorten the spot between I put my hand on the doorknob to go out to the ice bath, and my ass is in the bath.
Yeah.
Because I can spend 20 minutes between here and there.
Oh, there's not a towel.
That should take 4 seconds, right? And I can negotiate.
Yeah.
And so how do I shut that conversation down to get into the task at hand? That's the first thing for me. And so then I'm happier right when I'm in. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Right when I go in, I've had a win, and then to be able to hold my space, like there's nothing else you can think about except getting your breath together when you're there at first. And so then it's like, how do I control the rhythms of my body? How does everything else, what is this deep meditation? Well, it's when I can only think a singular thing and my breath in and my breath out. And I'm there in that hyper-conscious state of presence. And that's what the ice brings me. And then there's the physiological aspects of pain reduction. All my joints are you got it's all the stuff, and even if you don't, the recuperative aspect of it, of that pressuring and I think it's hyperbarics in a way, where there's this pressuring and squeezing and release, and so you have this pump that happens in all your systems where you're getting all the blood and oxygen in and out, and you're flushing your system in a way that creates health. And I don't know all the physiological stuff as far as, helps your heart rate and helps your blood pressure and it's endless. But that stuff for me, the stuff I come up against in here, that's what I got to fight against, because no matter what it is I come up in my life, like you haven't been my opponent. You haven't been what I can't achieve for. It's me. I got to get out of my own way.
Yeah.
And so it's a way to help me get out of my own way, which is also the hardest thing that I do in the day. It's the thing that I'm most resistant to do in the whole day, And so in those ways it helps me a lot. And then the other thing is it's like it gives me a touchstone of like this is what you did, and so it starts my day in an arc of a certain kind, and I think that's important,
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you end up going from stick fighting to movies? How'd that part happen? We didn't get there yet.
Oh, well, I was working in a place called the Paramount in Santa Fe, New Mexico, which was this nightclub where we did the stick fights underneath the disco ball. And we had every night there under the sun. I mean, we'd have spoken word poetry. We'd have like a old school hip hop night. We had a big pop night. We had trash disco, which was, and then we had a drag queen night Saturdays. I mean, it was different, cowboy night on Sunday. So Santa Fe is a small town, so it's like, you better have a night for everybody in town if you want to survive in the business. And that's what my boss was,
Which night had the most fights?
Most nights hip hop every night.
Oh, damn it.
Every time. Well, unless you're talking about the scariest fights
Whichever.
are the drag queens.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if you ever seen drag queens get down, but like, there's nobody tougher. I mean, you go ahead and go, I express as a woman and I liked it, and you're a teenager in Espanola, New Mexico. You're a bad motherfucker.
Yeah.
And you ain't afraid to cut me. Okay? It's all that. It's bad. I mean, I pulled those people with hair weave, like it's insane. Broken nail. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. So those were the worst fights, yeah. But inside of that place, I get a call, and one of my guys goes, "Hey, can you come up to the front door?" Sure. Hey, so we work with No Limit Films, and we're just looking for some big white boys for this film out here. Oh, and you got any guys who want to come? Here's the address. Come out here. All right, cool. And so it's Master P and his guys, and so they go out to the old prison, which has been shut down because of riots in 1980. And there's a great book called The Devil's Butcher Shop is written about that kind of debacle. But that's where we filmed this. And that was great. It was a month. It's called Lockdown was the name of the movie. And so I got a SAG card there. A SAG card is a Screen Actors Guild card, which is like the card that you need to be able to work inside that industry at that level. You can be background and stuff without it, but if you want to progress, you have to have that, like a Directors Guild card if you're a director, et cetera.
Yeah, and you make more money because you're part of the union and all that.
Yeah. And so that's when all that happened. And then I meet a guy, and his name's Keith Willard, and he was an ex-Navy SEAL, and he's a bad motherfucker and just little stout, fucking angry. And he says, "Hey, dude, you should come out. I got a spare guest house." And we've been buddies, like, not since then, but later he comes back into the story. He says, "Come out," but on a month of work, he's so kind. He goes, "Come out and stay at I got a guest house. Come stay and I go, "Bro, I got this one job in Santa Fe. I get to train there at night even sometimes, and I'm competing around. That seems unrealistic. I'm going to go be in movies in LA. Thanks a lot though, and we'll see you on the flip." And so I went on doing, I was just doing amateur stuff at that time and going to the Pan Ams and the Worlds and shit. And I mean, I was trying to build all that. And then 10 years later, a guy walks into my gym, and I'm teaching jiu-jitsu. He's an X Games guy, and his name's Darren Prescott. And he's running a show called Paul, which is about a little alien that's going across the desert in a motorhome with Simon Pegg. Okay. And so he goes, "Hey, you want to be in that?" I go, "Oh, you got a side card. You want to be?" I go, "How did you know that?" "Oh, the guys were talking to that." I go, "Yeah, I did this thing with this guy." He goes, "Oh, that guy's in my group," which is also Brand X, right? It was a brand, and there's 30 guys in the group or something like that. It's like a very small group. And this is like 2009 or 10. And anyway, I start hustling film at that time. I'd had my last fight, and I get on the show Equalizer. And I don't really know how that. I've just, you get thrown in, and if you get known it, and so I get thrown in this. And
with the Denzel movie.
Yeah,
hey,
yeah. That's a great scene. I fought him for like 2 minutes. We had a really great scene.
I was looking
gotta
for it.
rewatch
I gotta
it.
find
Yeah.
it.
And so I go there, and the stunt coordinator is Keith. Is the same dude from the first movie I ever did.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 10 years later, and I go, you know that I got a SAG card on that, and he didn't remember any of that, right? And we've been really good buddies since then, and all that. His kids are grown men now, and but it's like that's kind of how that all started. Was like working as this, and nothing was supposed to happen. You know what I mean? It's just I just said yes if opportunities came, and then I end up doing this thing, and then that thing, with my good mind, I go, that doesn't seem reasonable to me. I'm not going to do that. And then 10 years later, I get to revisit it, and then in that way, I ran after stunts for a long time, and I was like, and it was my way into the game. It was and dope, and that's I preferred it in a lot of ways. I like the action. I like the truth of it. I like these are people that don't complain and whine. It's not like they're actor types. These are fucking athletes that fucking life matters to, and they understand what it is, And that's an easier person for me to be around. But then you age out of everything, right? And so, and in where I'm at, like looking at me all the time too, it's like I'm not 170 pounds and 5'10", where I can be interplaced everywhere. And so I'm a character. I fight Denzel. I fight Keanu or whatever. And so inside of that, learn how to act better. And so then that kind of became where I started studying that and doing it like on the job kind of in a way. I'd take classes all the time, and I would do auditions all the time, and then I would do fake auditions. You know what I mean? I would get seen, and I would just try to, again, I hate looking at, watch the film.
Yeah.
Watch, there's where your mind went, where you're not being authentic. We can totally, because the camera can see if you're full of shit or not in a way that people, I mean, it's like, it's just here. And I can see you're not in love or whatever the thing is, right? It's like, it's palpable.
Yeah.
And so inside of that is like, how do you have in these contrived, authentic moments in these contrived situations kind of thing is like, kind of what acting is, right?
Power Project family, your normal shoes are making you weak. This is why we partner with Vivo Barefoot Shoes, because they have a wide toe box, they're flat, and they're flexible. So with every single step you're taking, if you're taking a 10-minute walk outside, or when you're working out in the gym, your feet are able to do what they're supposed to do in this shoe. They have tons of options for hiking, running, training in the gym, chilling and relaxing, casual shoes for if you're out on a date. You need to check them out. And Andrew, how can they get it?
Yes, that's over at vivobarefoot.com/powerproject, and you guys will receive 15% off your order automatically. Again, vivobarefoot.com/powerproject. Links to them down in the description, as well as the podcast show notes.
And so that's where I've been trying to develop myself in that way. And then, Keith, my partner in Caveman, and so Lacey and Keith and myself started Caveman, and then we kind of just did that while we all worked in film. Lacey's always a trainer, and Keith, ex-fighter, and then stuntman, and then actor, and then he wrote this thing called El Paso, which was a short film that we did, and took it to small film festivals all over. He won all kinds of awards for best director, best acting, da-da-da. And by the time he took it out to go, he's already got a feature written. So it's like, I love being around people like that, because there's that thing about like, oh, hey, do you have a feature written behind that? That's the next question. Right? And then the guy can either go,
boom,
nope,
right
I don't, I'll get it together. Oh God, I'm so excited. He's got it. No, he already has it.
Yeah.
Right? And 2 other things that are projects that, you know what I mean? And it's like, he's just thrown himself into writing in that way. And it's fucking really fun writing. And so looking towards that about like, where do you have agency in your life more? Where do you have, the power of creation and the power of choice? And that's when you are, creating it, when you're making it, it's your ideas, and this is where I want it to go. And it's all possible, and it's stuff that doesn't maybe seem obvious that it's possible, but you put yourself in the right room, in the right conversations, and anybody, there's no exclusionary aspect to that. I mean, right now, I think Quentin said on a cell phone, this is like 10 or 15 years ago, he was like, when the iPhone came out, he goes, we could have filmed all of Reservoir Dogs on that. He says, as it was, we filmed it, I think it did $100,000 or less than $100,000 or something. And it's like, there's ways that you can practice these things and you can get good at these things. And I think that's where you put your passion where your passion is. You can't create a fire where there's no spark.
What do you got going on over there, Andrew?
My daughter, I think acting might be her thing. It's the only thing she's ever really was like super pumped up about. She started her first year of like going back to actual school, and she's in high school now. She got parts in both of the only 2 plays of the year, and I mean, she was dedicated. I just mentioned on the previous podcast, she was in school from like 7 a.m. to like 10 p.m. at night because of rehearsals and stuff. She's doing really, really good, and you know, grades are still where they need to be. So like that's been awesome. Even though I told her, I'm like, I don't give a fuck about your grades.
Right. But that's what I thought when you just said that too. I'm like, fuck school.
I know. So, but
I don't mean that though. Really, everybody.
I do. But what I was getting at is like she's not missing a beat. You know, so that's how it's telling me like, okay, the passion's definitely there. Yeah. But do you have any advice for a young actress? You know, maybe that might want to pursue this.
I mean, when you say that to me and like you talk about how she feels about it, like she's already won. You know what I mean? It's like, I think that, you know, and I think if she wants that, that's available, and how well trained she'll be, even more so than a lot of her peers and all that. I think we look at a lot of European actors, and they're all very classically trained, you know, everybody we see, and they're very good, and in a way that it's different in America. Mm-hmm. And that has to do with training and all that. But you have a young person that's their passion. They're looking at it through that lens. God damn, it's limitless, man. I mean, how do you lose? You know? And so it's like you just to create that and then to be in the space, you know, she already has her arsenal of her skill sets. Wherever she takes that, if she wants to go and be on stage in New York, she can do that. You know, that stuff is there, you know? And how great that it's already there, and she's not even an adult.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? By the time she's 19, she actually can go to New York and do, or whatever the thing is. And I think that's it, is just like, don't quit. You know, it's the only thing. It's like, if Mark, every time somebody said, oh, that's a dumb idea, or this won't work, or like, if that was the thing that stopped, then, you know, what is he doing? It's a different story, you know? I mean, this idea about relentlessness, that's what I used to have in my phone. I had an old flip phone, and it just would say relentless across the top. And I just wanted to have that attitude in whatever I went into. And I think that's the way.
Yeah. Okay. So then this is my last question for you, Mr. Fletcher. How can somebody who maybe doesn't have much belief in themselves build that belief in themselves?
You can take right action. You know, I think that you can see what clear, strong action is, and with intention in front of you, and you can take that step regardless of how you feel about it. See, that's the thing about life, is it don't matter how much you feel about it or what you think about it even. It's what you do. And so if I can get into good action, then I can change the way I think about things, and that'll change the way I feel about things. And I always try to do it backwards. Well, I want to feel good first. Well, that's not how that happens, right? It's as delusional as thinking if I got everything that I wanted, I'd be happy. Well, it'd be madness. That's what it would be, right? It's delusion. And the only happiness I've ever gotten is when I did the hard thing, when I connected with somebody on a deep level. Like, those are the richest parts of my life. And so I think it's like that a little bit, you know?
Yeah, when you think about working out, you know, you're thinking like, I need to go to the gym. I got to get myself feeling better. Like, the gym does help you feel better, but when you first get there, it's kind of like, meh.
Yep.
You know, a lot of times you want to kind of leave.
Yep.
But you're like, well, if I just move,
yep,
it might take 6, 8, 10 minutes. Usually after that time elapses, you're excited now.
I don't even ask myself. I go, okay, pussy, just lay on the ground. And then, okay, and now we're just going to do shoulder touches. And okay, well, you just until you stop talking, we'll keep doing this. So we'll do 100 of these or something. And then I'm in a different spot. But I have to, it's like that thing. I got to, you know, the hard part about doing it is walking through the door.
Yeah.
You know, that's the hardest thing, is just to get in the goddamn. I remember when I started Undisputed, which was a CrossFit gym in Santa Fe. It still is. It still runs, and jiu-jitsu's there. Everything's there. But there's a woman that came in, and we used to do this thing called Whole Life Challenge. And it was like, you know, let's look at your whole life. You're going to meditate for 10 minutes a day. You're going to stretch for 10 minutes a day. You're going to eat this way. You're not going to eat any sugar, blah, 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 this whole thing. And this girl won because she had the biggest change. Her name was Tiffany. And Tiffany was north of 300 pounds when I met her, probably, and she was probably 5'2". And she'd come from the Northwest, and she'd moved to Santa Fe, and she'd been with us like 3 months at the gym. And she won this award as the most improved athlete, right? And so she's up on one of our boxes, and she has like a medal weight on we have our trophy for her, and she speaks, and she says, you know, I came here and I had a bad breakup up in Seattle, and I came and I parked in this parking lot. We were in a strip mall, So there's a grocery store next to us. And she said, I would park and I would get out of my car every day and I would walk up and I would walk in front of the window and I'd kind of look in and then I would walk over to the grocery store. And she said, I did that 25 times before I walked up to the door and I put my hand on the handle of your door. And I meant to put my hand on the handle of your door every time. And she says, and I knew when I grabbed it and I pulled it open, I couldn't ever not open the door again. And it's like that thing about it never struck me so much, but it's just getting in the fucking door, man, you know? It's getting in the door and being where you're at, you know? I think that's the other thing too, is like I expect myself to be somewhere I'm not. Like it's maniacal, you know? I mean, and I love, I forget who told me the etymology of the word coach. But it was like a new word. You know, I'm thinking of like Greek and Latin roots and stuff. He says stagecoach, you know? And he goes, and what's that do? It picks you up. And where does it pick you up? Where you're at. And you got to know where you want to go, you know? And it doesn't pick you up where you think you're at. You know what I mean? It's where you're at. And so I think that's, you know, the beautiful thing is like where you're at's okay, but we got to start, you know? And that's just walking in the room. Yeah. I think the coolest thing about walking into rooms like that too is like everybody else walked in the room, and it's probably hard for everybody, even if it doesn't look like them. You know? Yeah. I mean, it's just like it doesn't matter if you're fucking. Oh, I'm fit and I know how to move and I'm fucking. You're in a new place with new people. It's like it's all the first day at school all the time, and we're in a one-room classroom here. You know what I mean? And so like that togetherness is more important than abilities almost. You know?
Caveman Coffee, probably the first. Like nitro cold brew. I think it is first nitro cold brew to the market. You guys done an excellent job with it. It's been around for a while. I'm sure there must have been some hurdles being the first guy through the door, right? Figuring that shit out.
Stumptown came out too quick, but they did a thing where they had a widget in the bottom, which was a different process than what we used to can. It was hard to do that for sure.
Yeah, there's something inside the can on some of those,
they have
right?
a little widget, like it's in a Guinness that pops and has nitrogen that is exposed, where we compress it with nitrogen. And so, yeah, it was a lot to figure all of that stuff out. Had been a lot. And then over COVID was a lot, you know. Over COVID, you can't get cardboard. And then all the cans are gone because Coca-Cola bought every can. And it's like and then your lender goes out of business. And then, you know, it's like there's just... So it's just been all the, you know, it's like whatever. It's like, here's another puzzle to solve. Like, let's go. Yeah. Yeah.
What attracted you to that? What made you want to start? You just always loved coffee?
Yeah. And you know, I just, no forethought. I just like, I love coffee. Let's, you know, like Lacey and I.
A while back,
Lacey,
there was no
10 years.
Yeah. There was no coffee like that. I mean, now you kind of see them. You walk into a store and there's 5 or 6 brands you can choose from.
So Lacey and Keith and I had all been, you know, buddies and fans of coffee and all that. And so I was messing with Bulletproof a lot, I guess. Then I was looking into a lot of different, like I was just on the tip of a keto and all that kind of stuff. And so I pushed that a lot. I brought Dave Asprey on Rogan a couple times. And then Keith called me and he says, man, I went to this chocolate and coffee festival and I met these Colombian guys and they had come from this plantation down in Colombia and they're refugees from America because when Pablo Escobar was, right, it's like motherfuckers are getting kidnapped, right? Damn. So on their 3rd kidnapping attempt, they bounced to Miami and then they end up in Albuquerque and they're these roasters. And so we go over and we meet them and we talk and we became partners with them and they turned us on to like White Gold, which is a really light roast coffee, which was really unique. And we just started geeking out about it and go, fuck, maybe we'll put up a web page or something like that. And so we did that. And then my friend JP that owns Brick, CrossFit gym down in Hollywood, he was going to open up one in New York. And we did a pop-up at his place when he was having an event there. And there's like us and Perfect Bar. It's like, it's weird, all these little startup, right?
Yeah.
And then he says, hey, can you put a coffee shop in my gym in New York? And so then we built out a couple of shops in New York. And then, I mean, things just kind of progressed from there and then we go, okay, well, let's have mostly an online brand. And because all of us would move around a lot, then Lacey training and Keith and I work in different spots. And we just kept it rolling.
Awesome, man. Congratulations on that. Really cool. And congratulations on being in Star Wars.
Thanks, man. Thanks, dude.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time today.
I appreciate it, dude. I'm glad we got It's been a long time since we've been able to catch up. I really appreciate it. And thanks for the space you got here. I mean, it means a lot. And I think to a lot of guys in ways that maybe you don't know because you're right inside it. But it's a lighthouse. You know what I mean? And it lets other goes, maybe me too. You know, people
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Andrew, take us on out of here, buddy.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for checking out today's episode. Drop those comments down below. There's all kinds of fun stuff to talk about today. So we want to hear your comments. Hit that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow the podcast at MB Power Project all over the place. My Instagram is at I am Andrew Z. And Nsima, where you at?
Discord's down below, guys, for the Q&A and all that good stuff. At Nsima Inyang on Instagram and YouTube, and Nsima Inyang on TikTok and Twitter. And comment down below what you thought of the episode. Tait, where can people find you?
Just at Tait Fletcher on Instagram. If you want to hit me up Facebook, anywhere, it's just my name, Tait Fletcher, TaitFletcher.
What do you think of that steak shake mixed with the Caveman coffee?
It. And you know what I love about it? It's got no funny aftertaste at all. Where most stuff, either the sweetener or something, it bites you a little bit, or it's got a funny. This is not like that, you know? And also, I'll say this.
I'll send you off with some.
I've asked you before, right? And I think the last time I got a bottle of protein from you, and I go, hey, is this a carton of farts? And it's not, you know what I mean? And that's the thing is like a lot of that stuff is up. It's like, but this is great, dude. It feels nourishing. I love it. Thank you.
Yo, before we go, let me know, man. Might Paz Vizsla come back?
He might. You know what Dave Filoni told me? He says, who dies in Star Wars?
That's what I'm thinking, man.
You know?
Because that death, like, it didn't look so deadly.
Hey, I want to say too, it's so nice to meet you, man, in person. Because I think it's been a couple of years now. I don't know, you know, but like I've just been on Instagram more in the last couple of years than I had been before, just watching. Like I don't participate, I just watch. But I see you, and I see you lifting first, right?
Yeah.
And then I go, oh fuck, he's into jujitsu. I go, that guy's a problem.
Thank you.
I was like, somebody that's a problem right there, and a thinker. Ooh. Yeah.
Let's at least show this clip of him beating up Denzel Washington because he gets some good shit.
I am looking.
Oh man.
Yeah, because there's a couple of different fight scenes on YouTube, and
because some stuff you get killed way too early. Is my complaint.
If you just search my name and Denzel in the warehouse for Equalizer, probably
warehouse. Okay, I just needed something.
Yeah, it's like a Home Depot or type thing. Because I light up the.
That must have been a fun experience.
Oh, dope, dude. I walk in on that show. And it's me, Sala Baker, another buddy of mine I work with a lot, big Samoan from New Zealand, and then what's his name?
See, I just needed that extra clip.
Who's the dude that is like all the girls, the billionaire, Dan Bilzerian. So I meet Dan Bilzerian there, which was super weird, right? And I was like, wow, what a trip. And anyway, and some heroes that were like coordinators and stuff. But I walk in and Fuqua's there, and you'll see in this one, it's coming up probably. He's killing everybody right now. And I come in, I got my mustache all done up, and then I got a platinum grill in. And he goes, oh, I want all that in the movie. So in this one shot where I come up, you can just see that glint off that grill. But what a great scene, and what a great guy to work with, dude. What an honor to work with Denzel for one. And then the physicality that the guy brings is dope.
The Equalizer 3 trailer just came out.
Is it?
Oh, there I am. And then I blow all these windows out.
Yeah, that mustache.
Yeah, it was erect.
Did it?
An erect mustache.
It was erect, yeah.
That's sick. Did anybody after this tell you that like you have to keep the mustache like that? Like as your
usually
thing?
Guys my age that are like sad that I shaved. It was weird. There was so much stuff. I shaved last year and people were tripping. And I was like, it's weird that you are that invested in my hygiene, bro, but appreciate it.
You get
this,
to
boom, into the mirror.
How long did it take to film this scene?
I don't know, probably 6 hours or.
You're gonna go to Turkey and get some hair,
man. If only I think my scalp is so dead that I think it's been salted. I mean, I don't know how much hope there is.
I heard
up
some
there.
of these guys can get
I'd
some
have to
hair
talk
back
to a
up
healer. There. Yeah, Cowboy got his hair. I've seen a lot of fighters do it.
Really?
They went and got, dude. Cowboy had full on back to here, right? I saw him last week, and it's like his hairline is I mean, he's only got 1.5 inches before his eyebrows start. It's insane.
He got rid of his forehead.
And it looks good. It looks like real.
Wow.
Oh, God.
Oh, dude, you almost have him.
Dude, you could have got him. You could have got
That's the thing when you're doing that. Like, I'm in side control on him, right? do you know what he's saying to me?
What are you saying?
Dude, you're touching me. Like, I don't want weight on me.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you're like, that's the different thing too. Like when you're working with different people, it's like everybody's got different sensitivities at the time. And like, and so inside of that,
this is normal. Like this is light, normal pressure.
Yeah, I know. Like then to me coming from like, I don't have the same idea of what pressure is
like,
at all.
I'm sorry.
And I was like,
I'm pretty
no,
light.
I got you, dog. I got you.
He's like, can you let up a little bit?
Yeah. People often ask like, what's the difference with like a real fight and then like, and it's like so much and so much like that of like, how do I withhold and look aggressive and violent at the same time? Like, all that kind of stuff, you know?
Got it. Yeah. I'm at Mark Smelly Bell. Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. Catch you guys later. Bye.